Okay, so I've been told that videos like this get a lot of traction, so this is sort of an experimental video. Someone has asked me to comment on High Guardian Spice and why it doesn't work.
Oh no! Oh.
Okay. This is largely to do with one reason, and that's story. And I'm going to compare it to some stories that have a very strong political message or very strong socio-political message deep in the context and even on the surface context of the thing that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to be comparing High Guardian Spice.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
To Raw Hero. I'm going to be comparing it to Chainsawman, and I'm going to be comparing it to Firepunch, and I'm also going to compare it to Witchcraftworks. So let's get started. When I say story, I mean what is the driving force of anything that you read or watch, and that's story. When you read Firepunch, it is a story about someone trying to survive an apocalypse. He helps people, he's on fire, he goes through a horrible experience, yet he is the protagonist of the story. He drives the story, and even though there's a socio-political message about global warming, about how we might die out without looking after the planet, how two siblings or two star-crossed lovers might be looking for each other in a journey to the backdrop of this, that story of the main characters drives the story first. The message about the climate, the message about civilization, the message about overpopulation, the message about food and starvation and other such nuances are there, and they're very much in the foreground, but the character's journey comes first. In High Guardian Spice, this is not true. Again, if you want to compare it to something comparable, such as a school story, I want to compare it to Witchcraftworks. While I would compare it to Little Witch Academy, or Little Witch Academia, this has been done a lot of times. If we look at Witchcraftworks, Tamiya-kun is learning to become a witch, he's learning to protect himself and use the powers that are locked within him. This can be seen as an allegory to the High Guardian Spice, or being a guardian, regardless if he is a witch or a mage or a blacksmith or whatever have you he is or they are trying to do. Tamiya-kun's journey comes first. His learning of his environment, his understanding of himself and the people around him comes first, and the socio-political message of female empowerment or coming out of your shell or beating shyness comes very much secondary to Tamiya-kun himself. He is an interesting character. His relationship with his mom, his sister, the princess, and various other characters is there. There's a strong feminist message in Witchcraftworks, witches are mainly female. It's a matriarchal society. Tamiya-kun is very much an outsider and learning to become accepted within this society. He has powers that he doesn't quite understand and other people do, and yet it's a story first and it has messages second. Right, now I'm going to compare it to Chainsawman and Raw Hero. I will also do Raw Hero. I think that High Guardian Spice suffers from animation issues, it suffers from sound issues, it suffers from voice actor issues, it suffers from a lot of things that contribute it to being bad, but when you look at a comparably bad anime, Mysistermywriter, that has awful animation, it's still enjoyable for how bad it is. It's still enjoyable because you can tell the voice actors are having fun, even though the animation is garbage. Even though the storyline is so that you can still enjoy it on a trash level. You can still enjoy it on this fundamental level. It is complete garbage, and it looks complete garbage, but you can still enjoy it. I will do now Raw Hero. The Raw Hero is about someone who is desperately trying to save his family, support his family, doing horrible things, being a criminal, being an undercover secret agent, infiltrating these criminals, dressing up as a woman. It tackles so many issues, as does Okari Alice, as does many others that tackle transgenderism, tackle points, tackle belief in oneself, tackle socio-political ideology, tackle a lot of things while having the character's story first. And as I've said, High Guardian Spice suffers from this a lot. Now, while I might be a small channel and maybe major other channels have covered this before, my interest is not in to bash someone for liking the show. My interest is not to bash the writers or producers or the writers or anyone involved in that show. It's just that you can observe how much the creator of Chainsawman, Tatsuki Fujimoto, puts into his art, how much he puts into the message of Denji becoming a hero, being a kid with these horrific powers, forced to fight these monsters, these evil, even in the end. And while I am going to not spoil the ending of Chainsawman, if you've not read Chainsawman, read it, read the end, and then, you know, tell me that it's not a story of control. Tell me it's not a story of fighting back against insurmountable odds. Tell me it's not a story of a brother-sister relationship between him and power. Telling me it's not a story of trying to accept yourself for yourself. It's not. It is. It's all of those things. Denji goes through so many changes, so many things that happen to him, and he's still a 16-year-old kid. He might look older because he's had to grow up fast, but fundamentally he's still a teenager, and he's going through such a traumatic event. He's got a demon inside him. He's got horrific things happening around him. He's forced to kill his friend. There's so many things that go on in Chainsaw Man, and the socio-political story behind it, about control, about power, about how much are we willing to give someone to feel safe. The messages are deeply there, but Denji's story comes first. Okay, as I've said, I don't know how this video will do. If you do like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, then give it a dislike. If you liked what you heard and would like to see more of me covering things, please subscribe to the channel. I do Warhammer, I do gaming, I do manga, I do TTRPGs when I can read them. I do lots of things. So I've been Trix, and you've been all of you. Well, that's been my thoughts on why High Guardian Spies doesn't work, because it doesn't put the story first. Thank you all for your time, and bye bye.